Hey, what's going on guys, Tech here. So today I'm going to be making a video on something that I thought was quite interesting, and it's on this meta-analysis that was done on a Reddit user called Not Quite Factual. So they compiled a bunch of data and put them into some graphs to see. So they've got a different bunch of different categories like rank distribution, character popularity, and character win rates. So yeah, I usually don't look at this kind of stuff, but I was interested. I saw this on Twitter today, and I want to see stats for Reina, as naturally she's my main, so I want to see what her stats look like. And yeah, so for popularity, see, this is across all ranks. Reina is actually quite high. She's top 7, so yeah, she's pretty high. But you can see that Heihachi, a DLC character that came out like two months ago, is above her. So I was interested to see how her popularity was before Heihachi came out. So I think this is from May, and her popularity star is top 3. She's top 3 played. Like, what the hell? I didn't know she was that popular. But yeah, you may be like, wow, she dropped off like what, 4 spots. But I think, Heihachi was like a big factor in that, with how Heihachi's always been popular in every Tekken game because he's a, badass Mishima. But also for the fact that a lot of Reina players were Heihachi mains in the older games, and were only playing Reina because she had some Heihachi moves. So now that Heihachi's back, they just dropped Reina instantly. So I feel like that's also another reason why Reina dropped off 4 places. But still, being top 7 in a game where there's 30 plus characters is super impressive. So yeah, that's cool to see. But the main thing that I was interested in was her win rates, and this is what shocked me. So I'm going to show you her win rates for, this is for Destroyer to Fusion. And look at her, she's rock bottom at bottom 1. Isn't that crazy? I was kind of shocked, but then it was funny because you hear this a lot about, people in the Tekken community. They like to say that Reina is a brain dead easy character, easy mode Mishima, but you can see her win rate is bottom 1, so kind of just disproves that without saying much else. And then when you go into advanced, so I think, yeah, right into Tekken Emperor, her win rate is still, but it's bottom 2. It's like barely, it's not improved. It's trash. And I was like, okay, so Reina's like, she's a Mishima character. She's not the easiest character. You have to learn how to do Electric's Wave Dash and whatnot. So that's probably why in the in the lower ranks, she's low. Because execution characters like Kazi is also there, Steve, Warang, Heihachi, they typically, they don't do as well in those ranks. So I was like, okay, Reina's not a bad character, so I'm sure her win rate will go up in the highest rank. So I think this is a Tekken God Plus. And nope, she is bottom 4. She's still rock bottom. So yeah, I was quite shocked, especially with, a lot of people like to complain about Reina, but it got me thinking. So the first thing that came up in my mind was her nerfs that she received back in like June, I believe. So that's why I actually brought up this meta-analysis from May, because I want to see her win rates. So overall, yeah, she's still rock bottom. Like, if you look at her average, like her win rates across all characters, like all ranks, I mean, it's still like rock bottom. But then when we look at Fusion and above, her win rate is actually really high. Yeah, it's super high. Like, she went from, like, in the latest meta-analysis, she's like here, but in the past she was over here. So I was like, damn, did the nerfs like really hurt her that bad? But I feel like the nerfs were a small part of it, and I can show you the nerfs. If you don't know what Reina got nerfed, like what moves were nerfed, I'm gonna show you right here. So I feel like the important ones to talk about are her, you see here where it says remove that crouching state. So these moves lost their high crushing. So the ones that like most players are concerned about is her Unsoku 4. See that back 3-4, that's Unsoku 4, and her while crouching down forward 4. Yeah. So full crush down forward 4 lost its high crush. Now full crush down forward 4, if you guys played back then, you'd see Reina players were abusing this move so hard, especially in like setups like 3+4 into down forward 4, where if you jump after 3+4, you just get your jobs will get crushed, and you'll get hit by the launcher into like 1,000,000 damage. So yeah, Reina players really love to abuse this flowchart, and yeah, I guess Bandai Namco saw this and they're like, nah, we're taking it away from you. So I think that took a hit to like those like more scrubby Reinas, but I feel like for Reinas who were trying to play solid, this wasn't really the end of the world. But another quite big thing they did is they nerfed the tracking of 442. Now I think, you know, 442 is a move that every Reina uses, so, you know, not as abusable. You know, if you're abusing 442 versus players, you know, who have the mushroom knowledge, they're gonna step you now, so can't abuse that as much. But again, I feel like for good players, they don't abuse 442 as much. They don't, you know, spam it as much. They, you know, use it mainly for whiff punishing. So this is another change that hurt mainly like the more intermediate beginner arenas, but for the higher level arenas, it was like, it was annoying, but not the end of the world, I feel like. So I don't think these nerfs would have really contributed to her win rate like plummeting. I know it probably had a part to play, but you can't go from like top what 5, 6 or whatever to like bottom 4. Like that is crazy. So the main thing I think is like, you know, this was from May and now we're in November, you know, that's a lot of time in between, and I feel like the main thing is matchup knowledge. I feel like majority of the player base just has way more matchup knowledge on Reina, and you know, I feel like the reason why a lot of people complain about Reina is because they lack the matchup knowledge. With Reina being a new Tekken 8 character, it's natural that no one knew anything about the matchup. They didn't know how to deal with it. So I feel that's why a lot of people complain about Reina and wanted her to get nerfed. And I feel like, you know, there was some valid points in wanting to get Reina nerfed at the start. Like her chip damage was quite crazy. Her damage was also kind of crazy, you know, in some parts. So there were some valid like critiques, but yeah, at the same time, yeah, like she does have counterplay now, and that's a lot of people have learned that counterplay. So for example, 442, you know, that's the main move that people like to complain about, and I feel like back then in like May and earlier, in earlier times of the Tekken 8, you could really get away with a lot of stuff. For example, 442 into Sentai 3, you know, a lot of people back then didn't know that, you know, Sentai 3 was a +1 on block, you know, homing high, that you can just duck. Like they didn't know it was +1 as well, so you could just abuse, like, you know, you can do jobs and just hit them with that for free. You could abuse Sentai 1+2. It's a super good power mid that, you know, now most players know that if you block Sentai 1+2, you can just get a free I10 or I11 punish on it, but people back then did not know that. Same thing with like Sentai 4, it's a +4 on block mid. A lot of people didn't know it was plus, and also, like, you know, they didn't know that you could just float it or you could step it easily. So now, most people, if you abuse Sentai 4, like after 442 or whatever, you're going to get jabbed out of it, so you can't abuse it. And same thing goes for her Sentai Power Crush. Most people didn't know that the second hit of her Sentai 1-2 was -16, and it feels like if I just throw that out now, if I'm playing ranked, everybody launch punishes it. Like I can't get away with it. So stuff like that, I feel like people did not know back then, and because they lacked the knowledge, they just complained. And now that with time, you know, they learn all of these, you know, all of this stuff, and it's, you know, it really helps. It really helps. And you see, Reina players really love to rely on these kind of moves like 442 and Hell Sweep. Yeah, another example of that is also Hell Sweep into Heaven's Wrath 2. That's another common flowchart that, you know, Reina players love to do, and back then no one ever did the correct counterplay, which was sidestep right into, you know, launch. No one did that back then, but it feels like now if I did that, pretty much everybody like that's like semi decent at the game knows that you can sidestep right into launch. So I feel like all those things like added up really like kind of hurt Reina's win rate. And I feel like why those moves, like I talked about 442 and Halsey, why countering those moves in particular, like I did talk about her other moves, like, oh, my down forward 1-2 is -40, you need to learn to punish that on the 1-2 3-4, the last hits are high. Like I didn't talk about like stuff like that, and I'm mainly focusing on 442 and Hellsweep is because those are Reina's like top tier moves that every Reina uses. So if you know how to deal with those moves, then you know how to deal with the majority of the like Reina player base, to be honest, especially like the intermediate players. So that's why I think knowing how to deal with those moves really helps you, and like you can pretty much beat most Reina players just by knowing how to deal and counter, you know, the options from those moves. So those are my thoughts on Reina's win rate and why it's so low right now. So if you guys think I've missed out anything and want to add more to the discussion, then please leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. I really love to hear what you guys think about this, and yeah, see you guys in the next video.